I should have warned you about shorts.
That's
what
my
happened when
body
I-
fat. My
that-
mid
that's what-
voice.
That's what happened when I don't do the first day of the tour. I kind of forget to tell the basics. But I think that he's going to excuse me. You won't be able to enter some of the church itself, but you'll be okay. Friends, first of all, I hope you appreciate. Welcome to Capernaum. And thank you so much for coming to Israel. And I think you have no idea how blessed you are being here. This is Jesus' town, and you are here by yourself. This is like unprecedented in the last 50 years. I mean, it's just because you dare and came and against all odds with the COVID and all that. So usually this place is like crowded with thousands of people, and it's just amazing. It's I was never here with just like this. That's why we leave so early usually to get first to the place. But it's incredible.
Thank you.
And actually, it's the first day that they open 8 o'clock. Usually they open. Recently they opened just 9 o'clock. Okay.
So they switched wherever we were.
All the groups, when they come to Capernaum, and probably like Joel did before, did you ever stop here? You always rushed in, yes? They never stopped here. But this is the crazy stuff. What you see here is the most authentic part of the whole story. Because those pieces, those elements that you see over here, they are, again, this is understanding that we have from the last years. Those are the real architectural elements that came from Jesus' first century Capernaum synagogue. How cool is that? Look at this. They've been here all those years. They put their here just for decoration. But those round, yes, the round ones, this is a part of the pillars. The pillar was made from links and plaster from the outside.
And that is volcanic basalt from the
That's the
Golan?
local, dark,
Oh, local.
hard
Okay.
basalt.
Yeah.
But everything you see over here, this is the only remains that left from Jesus' time synagogue. Now, this synagogue is mentioned so many times. Approximately 1/3 of the miracles that mentioned in the 3 synoptic gospels are made in Capernaum. So many miracles happen over here. He cast the demon from the possessed man in the day of Shabbat. He taught, I am the bread of life. He healed the woman with the blood issue. He resurrected the son of the head of the synagogue, Jairus. He found, you remember, he sent Peter to find the key, found the coin in the mouth of the fish. And he healed Peter's mother-in-law, and probably more miracles that I forgot. Okay? And probably more miracles that were not written. All those miracles happens right here at the city of Capernaum. And many of them were made in this synagogue. How cool is that? And we want to see here the synagogue of Capernaum, Peter's mother-in-law house, and we also want to talk about the meaning of all of those miracles. Okay? What's the meaning of those miracles? And yes, I wanted to tell you the meaning of the name Capernaum. So sorry, my mind was somewhere else. The meaning of the name Capernaum. Joel read to us from Isaiah 35 2 days ago. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami. So I don't know the name Capernaum. I don't know how you got the Capernaum. It sounds very awkward. But the Hebrew name is Kfar Nahum. Kfar Nahum. Kfar is a village. Nahum, like Prophet Nahum, or somebody's name called Nahum. But the meaning of the name Nahum, just like Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, consult my people.
Really?
So, the name Capernaum is actually the village of consolation, or console, like Noah, Noach, Nahum, Nechama, consolation. But if you put it in the biblical context, remember that was the people in Jerusalem that was praying for the consolation of Jerusalem. They were actually praying for the salvation of Jerusalem. Consolation means salvation of Jerusalem. So you can think about this place as the village of salvation.
And was it the village of the prophet Nahum?
We're not sure.
Okay.
Could be, but we're not sure. But the village of salvation, and maybe that was a word's play, because you remember that those people was rebuked by Jesus. Woe to you, Capernaum! Woe to you, Chorazim! Woe to you, Bethsaida! In the end of the days will be lighter to the Sodom and Gomorrah than to you, because many of them saw those great miracles and did not repent. Okay? And Jesus told them, you Capernaum, you think you're going up to heaven? Maybe like your name is, the village of salvation? No, no, no. You're going down to hell. Okay? So, to be continued.
It's like outdoor concert. Yes. Yeah. That's where they built the church, and then if you want to actually look at the stuff that they didn't claim, that's important. You have to look underneath it. But you can go in the church and see their something I want to say real quickly about. But I mean, I guess they preserved it. They put it all up, right?
Okay. I'm just going to say one sentence. Friends, welcome to Capernaum. Capernaum is right under your feet. Okay? Only small section of it was excavated. So you are standing where Capernaum used to be. And the only parts that were excavated over here is this section, the synagogue on the left-hand side, and Peter's mother-in-law house is under this gigantic church building. What's going on with this?
Was it Peter's?
Peter's mother-in-law house.
remember that
Okay,
wrong.
and we're gonna talk about it very soon. And if you look far over there, you see the red dome. That's the Greek Orthodox Church of Capernaum, and that's the other end of Capernaum. So Capernaum was a very long and narrow city between the lake on one side and the mountains on the other side. Approximately 4,000 people. For biblical days, it's quite a lot. Okay, it means back then there were way less people than today. So 4,000 people city, it's a city or an agricultural city. Okay, and they made a living from the local industry, the basalt rocks. The basalt rocks were carved. Thank you. They carved the basalt hard rock, and they created agricultural implements from it, and that was the local industry. Also fishing, agriculture, and trade. Remember Matthew, he was from Capernaum and he was a tax collector. The Via Maris is less than 500 feet away from where you are, so it's right on the Via Maris. And what we want to talk about over here before we go over there and have a sit is about those architectural elements that you can see them all over. Those actually came from two structures that were built here on the 4th century AD. In the 4th century AD, apparently, again, this is the theory, and I think it's a very, very good one. We know that there used to be a Jewish Christian community in Capernaum. Judeo-Christians or Messianic Jews. And they had the synagogue on one side and Peter's mother-in-law church on the other side. So those two buildings were built on the 4th century, and that's where you get those architectural elements. Okay? And by the way, we have also a testimony at the Talmud, the oral Jewish text that speaks against the sinners of Capernaum. So in the eyes of the Jewish Talmud, who are the sinners of Capernaum? Those Jews that accepted Jesus. So we have this testimony as well.
So something just briefly I want to point out. So again, 4th century, you're talking about 300 years after Jesus, but still relatively early.
Oh, I know what you're going to put down.
We'll say Messianic Jews. So if you have one of the shirts on, obviously, so this is the my ministry logo that I designed some years ago, the 8-pointed octagram, which is probably the most commonly recognized architectural feature throughout the Muslim world, throughout the Middle East, right? You'll see it in the Moroccan fretwork and so forth. And just having been an artist for 20 years, been in that field, I love architecture and art and design. And if I had known when I got into it that I would have gotten here, I probably wouldn't have gotten into it. But I actually appreciate things like drapes and fabrics. Just kidding. But anyway, so when I designed my ministry logo, I chose this element, which is the most recognized feature of the Middle East. This speaks of the Muslim world, the Middle East, the Arab world. And then I put in the crown of thorns. So it's not this real brazen, obvious cross. It's referring to the crucifixion, the gospel. And then, of course, you have sort of leaves, life that is coming from it. And people get upset. They go, "What's this symbol, Joel? What are you trying to hint to us? Who do you worship? You worship Satan." And you have Christians that get so obsessed with symbols. Well, that's a satanic symbol. And you also have, an abundance of anti-Semitism and conspiracy theories in our world. And it's almost like Christians, we're like fetishists, like we're like witches or something. Like every symbol has power. Like, oh, that symbol is satanic, and you need to rip it off and repent and burn the shirt. This type of thing. And I go, no, I designed it. It means what I say it means. It means my ministry, my call is to bring the good news primarily to the Muslim world. That's my primary calling. So with regard to the state of Israel, you'll see a lot of people will say the 6-pointed star, the shield of David, the Magen David, is satanic. They should have used the menorah. And I go, yeah, the menorah would have been a more appropriate symbol for the people of Israel, but they chose the 6-pointed star, and they go, no, that's evil, it's satanic, it's this and that. And I go, it has probably been used in a lot of occult symbolism, as has the 5-pointed pentagram, but the bottom line is Satan doesn't own shapes. Satan doesn't own goats. Satan uses the image of the goat, but to me, a goat is an adorable farm animal. To other people, it means what it says someone means. The Lord created these things. So, you'll see, look at this. This is interesting. So, and in terms of the history of architecture and design, people used things that God created that are in nature, right? The famous Corinthian capital uses the acanthus leaf. You see in here, you see the pomegranates, right? The pomegranates are such an essential part of the land, and they become part of the design elements and the ornamentation of ancient Israel and the Christians. You see the grapes, you see, again, that maybe that's some type of a leaf and so forth. And then up here you see, look, a 5-pointed star. The early Messianic Jews worship Satan? No. You'll find a star like that in nature. You see the 6-pointed star. So that's, again, 4th century. It's not super ancient, but it's old. If you turn a pomegranate and look at it from the top, it's most often a 6-pointed star. Sometimes it's a 5-pointed star. And so the point is this, is just as Christians, we need to be careful of getting overly caught up in all this. Everyone, I have someone that went through a video of mine. I talk a lot with my hands. They freeze frame. Oh, look, he's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this. He's sending all these secret symbols. No, I have Italian blood. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a simple thing. I'm just making this point that the Star of David, it represents to the majority of the world the state of Israel. That's what it means. There's no secret underlying occult symbolism, and let's get away from a lot of this craziness. And I find myself constantly fighting this stuff, probably because I do a lot of my stuff on YouTube.
I want to know what your shirt means.
It's Grateful Dead.
Is there some symbol there?
I love the Grateful Dead, and I don't care. I want the whole world to know it. All right, so.